There I am. Hello, everybody. Oh, hang on. There we go. Let's turn off my background music for now. Yeah. Oh, I'm here myself. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right, hello. Welcome back, I should say. Um, I I wanted to do like a redux of today's stream, I suppose. Because I feel like today's stream ended off on a bad note and I left a bad taste in my mouth. So I thought, hey, why not just, stream again? There's no rule against it. There's no rule against it. There's nothing, no one's stopping me from doing it. So instead of playing Babysitter Bloodbath, I would like to try to start making a tabletop RPG. And there's several aspects about it that I need to do, I suppose you can say. I already have like a framework in mind. One, I would like to be a mecha. Like I want to play with mecha games because it's me. I feel like you guys shouldn't be surprised when I say I want to be in, I want to play a mecha game. Yeah, I would like to do that, I would like to make this tabletop game with this all this stuff in mind. So yeah, I'm having a hard time speaking like a big goobus, but you know what? It is what it is. Hang on one second. I just need to continue doing some shilling and farthing. Where's there we go. So yeah, I would like to have a mech game, right? Where there's basically two characters. You basically have two characters. You have the pilot, right? You're the pilot, and then you have the mech, and both of those can be changed and adjusted accordingly. Yeah. So specifically, I would like to base on Pathfinder because I think Pathfinder's system on creating almost like unique class combinations and like very build focused is a good idea, right? It's a good idea. It's fun to customize that much. So I would like that flexibility with both the pilot and the mech in mind. So I'm able to create and edit the mechs, right? So like, I'm very poorly articulated today. I apologize. What I'm trying to say is, I want to be able to customize mechs very easily. That's what I'm trying to say. There we go. Simple as that. I'm gonna turn down the music a little bit because it's a bit loud on my end. I'm gonna just turn it up there. All right. So yeah. My idea too, one big thing I was thinking about is that it could be like a branching mechanic for a lot of things you might add onto your mech, for instance, that will basically be unlocked when the pilot and the mech itself has the equipment and systems needed to operate. So to put it in Gundam terms, since I don't really know any other terms to use, if you want to have like a mech that is that has funnels, right? Basically autonomous attack drones. You're going to need to have the ability to, like, the mech needs to have the ability to store these, which you can have through basically what are called incoms in Gundam, which are basically just wired funnels. So they're not autonomous. They're controlled through the pilot and the mech. You need to have Psycho Frame. At least you should have Psycho Frame to make it easier to control. And the pilot itself needs to have either modifications that will results in them being equivalent of a new type, or they are born a new type, which probably will be done through feats. Yeah, so that's my whole idea, right? And like of course you can like scale up in like power, so like, you know, you can start with like normal, relatively simple funnels, and then you can get like funnels with Psycho Frame in them, so they're much better. Or you can get just Psycho Frames as funnels, like in Moon Gundam, which technically had armor on the back, but they were still called Psycho Shards. So yeah, basically they used them as basically lightsabers. It was wild. Point being is that I have like an idea in mind, but as for things like mechs, abilities, systems, so on and so forth, I thought I would take viewer suggestions, and I will hopefully get something pretty fancy from it, you know? Something pretty snazzy. And let me just make sure everything is up and running. Okay. And yeah, so let me just switch over to the, oop, that's the wrong button. Let me switch over to this. So we're just gonna be using Google Docs. Oop, hang on a second. Not realize. Y'all saw nothing. There we go. You have witnessed nothing. There we go. And yeah, let me just make sure my buds are aware and it's 1 moment. All right, cool. So, let me just see. Can y'all see this? How's that looking? Let me check. If not, we'll just increase text sizes. It's a little hard to see. I'll just increase the text size to 13. There we go. I hope. Let me know if that's not working out. But yeah, as I was saying, I want. Let's get the wants down, right? Wants. Actually, I don't necessarily. Hang on a second. I'm just gonna make it so y'all can see it so much easier by just making it a lot bigger. They basically just get rid of the need for, yeah, that's pretty poggies. All right, there we go. That's a lot better. So wants, detailed customization of mechs. Detailed customization of pilots. Branching advancement paths. Multiple building feats and equipment. Pilot and mech synergy. Mech. Yeah, pilot and mech synergy, right? Basically, what that means is that I want the pilot build, if you want, can be very synced with the mech in question, right? Also, multiple mechs, right? Multiple mechs, potentially multiple mechs that can that take a similar role, but cost amounts, etc. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm thinking right now. Actually, real quick, I need to go for just a second. I just need to do some emergency maintenance. I'll be right back. Feel free to do suggestions. Until then. Hang on, let me just... Alright, I'll be right back. I'll just need to do some emergency maintenance, as I said, and yeah. If anyone comes in, just shoot me a suggestion. Yeah. Wait. There we go. Alright, I'll be back. Alright. I'm back. And I just had a thought that I'm hoping that I wasn't muted this entire time. But either way, let's just get rid of this. I think it's a good idea to list out inspirations, since inspirations tend to be a very big part of these games. At least indie ones. I know they like to list out their inspirations. So like you know, for instance, mobile. Mobile Suit Gundam. Mech Warrior Sans. Hang on, I'm just gonna, you know, for the sake of. There we go. Mech Warrior. Battle Tech. Macross. Stuff like that, right? Those are my inspirations right now, at least for making this game. Hang on, let me just throw a tentative title on normal text title. Mech game, very cool. Trust me. There we go. So yeah, just for those who might be arriving into the stream, we are currently making a TTRPG because I wanted to do that because I wanted to have a bit more of a long-term project to work on, and I thought, hey, might as well make a mech game. I'm aware that there is stuff like Lancer, Beam Saber, stuff like that. But you know what? I'm not gonna let that stop me because I don't care. I want to make it, so I'm gonna make it. Definitely one thing's for sure. Definitely won't get as cool art as I won't be able to get as cool of an art scene going on as I would be getting with Lancer. Lancer's art is really good. So I was listing out what I want, right? As well as inspirations. To those in the chat, once again, I would like to remind you that if you want, you can give me suggestions, or what you would like to see in a game like this as well. For instance, I don't know what level of tech there would be. Personally speaking, I don't particularly like. Oh, hello, Darcy. Thank you for the subscription. Best bot TTRPG will be better than any smelly old Timor mean Lancer TTRPG. Hey, thank you for that. Welcome, Darcy. Wow, you've been T1 for 9 months, huh? You've been subscribed for a while. I need to get my badges made so you can show off how pog you are, Darcy. But yeah, I am currently making this game, so I'm not sure how much you know about mecha and stuff like that, but you know, I listed off my inspirations, which is Mobile Suit Gundam, Mech Warrior / Battletech, and Macross. Those are the ones I know off the top of my head, as well as what I would like to see in this game. So like, right, like multiple mechs you can choose from, potentially of different price points, cost different amounts, but they probably will be taking on similar roles. Because like in Gundam, right, and in Macross, like multiple mechs were made that kind of fulfilled the same exact role. Also, hey, you know what? Sometimes you need eyes that aren't mecha adjacent. So like, if I start slinging out like terminologies that you don't know, right, you should let me know, so I'm like, oh, let me translate this to not nerd talk, right? So even with your lack of mecha experience, that is still a good thing, I think. But I digress. Another thing is detailed customization of both mechs and pilots. I don't know what I just did there, so I'm just gonna Control Z that. And yeah, so that is what I would like to do. Very similar to Pathfinder. I think Pathfinder is a very good system to kind of think about when we are making this. Although a little bit more complex than Pathfinder, I think, because I think there's gonna end up basically being 2 character sheets that one can have. There is like the mech character sheets, and then there is the pilot character sheet. And I want the pilot and mechs to kind of mesh and sync together very well. Although, you know, mechs won't be used a lot, pilots are still gonna be pilots, right? I like to think about this mentality of mechs can get rebuilt, repaired, and produced. Pilots can't, right? Pilots can never get replaced after they pass. Yeah, a character sheet and a mecha sheet. I'm gonna say that. Terms. Slang. Terms and slang, right? Character sheets. Pilot sheets. Mecha. Mecha sheet. By the way, Darcy, are you able to see everything alright? Like, are you able to read the text and stuff? Because I can increase the text size a bit more, or increase the capture size, so you're able to like read what I'm writing down a bit better. So yeah, just let me know if that isn't if you can't really see what's being written down. Let me just also look at some stuff real quick. All right, I'm on mobile. It's still fairly readable. Okay, that's good to know. So let me look up something real quick. I wanted to base this on Pathfinder, right? But it is not. I don't really know Pathfinder's character creation system super in depth. So Pathfinder. Character. Right, character creation. I'm just reading up real quick, making sure I actually know what Pathfinder's character creation is like. Oh, this brings up a good question. Should we keep D&D / Pathfinder's stat system, right? So should we have strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, charisma. So should we have this for at least the pilots, right? Let me just bold it real quick. Right, should we have this for at least the pilots? Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. That being the default. Oh, no issue. Just try to respond when you can, I guess. I'm gonna be reading stuff. But when you can respond, please do. Because, you know, input is important for stuff like this. So, like, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. That is like the base for D&D and Pathfinder, right? And I can see this working out, right? For the pilots, right? The pilots could have this, but we might need to determine a different kind of form of stat layout for mechs, and those might come pre-packaged, right? Like you don't roll for mech unless it's a custom mech, right? That's how you change the stats on the mech, is by changing like the mech itself. So strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom. Intelligence definitely, maybe swap wisdom for like intuition. Strength maybe like lower down the importance. Yeah, strength might not be super important now. Especially in the age of like, you know, if push comes to shove, I can just whip out a Glock and shoot you, right? Although in Gundam, in Mobile Suit Gundam, the original show, the final fight between Char and Amuro became had a sword fight involved. There was a sword fight in it, so the strength might be used there. Strength, I could also see strength being used in stuff like really complex maneuvers that might knock a pilot out otherwise, or like maintaining control of your mech when in some turbulent existence, right? Like if you're in a storm, or you know, some other issues. So it could be interesting. Strength into physicality. But if we do strength into physicality, I can see that being combined with dex, right? Strength and physicality kind of combining that, because strength is like raw power, and dexterity is like the ability to control one's body, right? So raw power and the ability to control one's body being combined into physicality, which is just raw power and the ability to control, would make sense to me. All right, finesse. I agree. Let's just temporarily take that into physicality. I totally misspelled that. It makes particular sense for me, considering the fact that this will be in the day and age where strength versus the ability to control one's body isn't going to be as necessary or as drastic, because you know you won't be having sword fights. Maybe most of the time you'll be having like a gunfight, most likely, or like physicality can also probably translate pretty well into the ability to control one's mech, like being able to like perceive one's, actually no, perception is wisdom, so I think wisdom and physicality would be very heavy when it comes to piloting a mech, while charisma, intelligence, and constitution is obvious, right? Constitution, that's gonna be your health, right? That's how many times you can get hit before you crumple over like a sack of potatoes. And intelligence can be stuff like hacking, hacking modification, right? Modification, like knowing how to modify a mech, or identification. So being able to identify a mech or a weapon might be a good idea. Charisma's obvious, right? Charisma's staying for obvious reasons. You need charisma to like barter, or if you want, you can like barter or more I don't know. Like bartering and like convincing people to join. Like imagine this, right? Imagine you're in a fight, right? You're actively in. It's like how in Gundam there's the ability for the main characters to convince people to stop fighting using the ability of charisma. No. Strategy, no. I'm not gonna make strategy its own. I don't think we should make strategy its own thing. Hello, Snurm. Thank you for the lurk. I don't think we should make strategy a thing for intelligence, or like replacing that, because intelligence can also be stuff like hacking, replacing, or like modifying parts. Yeah, hello, Sturm. We are working on a mech game. I want to make a tabletop role-playing game. Yeah. So, but yeah, as I was saying, I think strategy can be a like skill. It can be a skill within intelligence, right? But I don't think intelligence itself should become strategy, because intelligence will also be stuff like hacking, probably repair. Repair will probably be going into intelligence. Intelligence or physicality. I'm not sure which one. Modification, hacking. I think I always said hacking, but whatever. I said hacking multiple times already. It's whatever. You get it. Hacking's gonna be it. No, not as its own like ability. May you expand upon that thought. I was saying that as like a skill mechanic. Okay, so that's basically what we were saying. Okay, okay. We're on the same page then, right? We're on the same page. Much like how D&D has like, has like intelligence, but then it also has like nature, arcana, history, so on and so forth. Intelligence will also have stuff like modification, hacking, so on and so forth. I said so on and so forth too many times. So on and forsooth. There we go. That delay was intense. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. So yeah, sorry. I just had a moment of like, not like lag as in like stream lag, but like lag as in brain lag. I definitely had like the loading symbol going in my CPU for a moment there. Billy flaws. Ooh. We were saying hacking and not really coming up with anything else. Yeah, I was just having a moment of brain fartage. So another thing I think we should try to establish pretty quickly is, so okay, we got physicality, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. I'm kind of fine keeping that the way it is for now. What stats should mechs have? Right? So like I was thinking like, well, speed is a natural one. Speed naturally. right? How many squares can a mech move, right? Armor, strength, durability. I feel like durability could also just be known as armor, right? So strength, armor. Also, just to make this very much apparent, even though I do have BattleTech here for inspiration, main inspirations here is going to be mostly Gundam and Macross. So these are going to be like anime mechs, if that makes sense, right? There's going to be some anime hacking mechs right here. So strength and armor does make sense still. I'm just letting y'all know, do not really be expecting a whole lot of the whole tank with legs situation. Expect more like, if you do know BattleTech, like a Phoenix Hawk situation, right? Where it's definitely still very anime. Like, it's humanoid mechs most of the time. For mechs, they could be called power rather than ability. Well, okay, so let me rephrase that. The ability scores on a mech, Animex. Yes, I will in fact use that, Animex. But just to help clarify, I guess, my idea is that you will be for the mechs at least, a lot of the stats, right? The stats of a mech is going to be like built into the mech. So instead of having like physicality, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, a mech will have a very similar array of things, right? So like speed, strength, armor, engine, maybe an engine score, right? Like that might be a thing. So like engine, so you're gonna be you'll have these stats laid out, right, as if you're shopping in a weapons catalog, right? But you can change these stats on the mechs by what's it called? By modifying the mechs, right? So like for instance, you can get like maybe not energy. Oh, hang on. Because I feel like energy would tie in very much to an engine score. But here's what I'm thinking. Heat. Right? Heat. Heat in particular might be a situation where it is a pool that you can spend, right? Like you can spend heat points to increase the ability of your mech, right? Like heat can be used for maybe something like overclocking the system, right? Or increasing the output of a weapon, or maybe like all rounding, like all overall improving the ability of your mech, right? This overall improvement of mech for a short time, and once you have spent the heat, you cannot regain said heat. Yeah, so like heat can be like a pool that you spend, and you cannot regain that heat in combat until maybe, unless you have a heat sink or something that can like vent the heat, right? So like heat, that might be a very important one. And you know what? I'm also gonna put engine, right? Engine, right? Because I feel like engines might also be a very important thing to be considering when purchasing a mech, right? Like, I feel like an engine might affect speed and heat. As much as heat might affect an engine, or speed might affect an engine. But also I feel like engines might be measured in wattage as much as they will be measured in so I'm gonna do a little parenthesis here, wattage. Right? So engines, right? How does this sound, right? Like you like engines will be affecting heat and speed, but it'll also be affecting either something in the mech or high mechanical risks the environment to cool. Yeah. So the engine, right? Get this, right? An engine, right? You need to have a certain like class of engine to be able to equip certain weapons, right? So like, you know, a normal beam gun, right? Like a normal, like talking like a normal GM from Gundam looking beam gun, right? That is going to be probably a slightly above average engine. But meanwhile, like if you want to have something like a high mega, sorry, hang on, let me think of it. A high mega bazooka launcher, right? A high mega bazooka launcher. And you're either going to have a separate generator for that, or you're gonna have a over-the-top engine installed into the mech to be able to use something that intense. And just to let you know, for those who are not couth with Gundam, a super mega bazooka launcher is when it was first made in Gundam. You had to have a separate mobile suit attach itself into the gun to be used as a battery, because it used that much energy. It was basically a gun used on a ship that they put a trigger on and said, have at it, boys, with the mechs. Sorry, maybe also like the engines need to be like made different for more weapons, lean rather than like speed or high heat capacity and such. Yeah, exactly, right? So an engine, like you need to have a certain wattage when it comes to engines to be able to use these weapons or systems. Although I feel like that could be negated if you use physical weaponry, right? So like, to put it into Gundam terms, like Heat Hawks, right? Heat Hawks exist in Gundam because they are very low wattage and they're basically like super hot axes, right? Used to like chop and hack and slash at a mech, right? Or if you don't want to use a beam gun, you can use physical guns. And I feel like there might be armor that can, or like systems. I was thinking about using the word system to describe like feats, right? Like rather than using feats for a mech, it is a system that you have on a mech, right? And you can use a system that can, there might be different systems or like armor coatings or just armor in general you might be able to buy for your mech that can be resistant to energy or physical or both. But there is no, I don't want to have a armor, right? An armor treatment or an armor set or a system that fully negates, just flat out period negates the like weapons, right? So like I feel like there will always be a weakness to weapons because like in Gundam, right? I'm using Gundam as an inspiration. That's definitely the top inspiration for this. Mobile Suit Gundam, right? There at one point in Gundam, the armor got so developed for beam weapons that people realized that hey, these like the armor is really good against beam weapons, right? But a physical bullet launched from a gun at a Gundam will damage the armor. So I basically don't want something like the phase shift armor from Gundam Seed. Trans Am is not super what I'm referring to. Trans Am is like a system, probably. I was more referring to something like the phase shift armor, which basically completely negated the use of physical weaponry in Gundam Seed, because of space magic, basically. Also, hello Damien, we're building a mech game, a mech TTRPG, if you will. I am definitely working with this with y'all, so... Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. It's like the Jedi mentality, right? A Jedi is so well adapted to fighting, like, laser guns that when you shoot a shotgun at them, they're going to be covered in molten lead. Right? So there's going to be, like, I feel like there should be checks and balances, right? You don't want to have... Why not use tabletop game category then? Is that a category? Is that a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. Hang on. I didn't know that was a category. Tabletop? Holy shit, that is! There is one! Hang on, I'm switching to tabletop RPGs. I didn't know that was a thing! I'm a fool! Thank you, Neko, for letting me know that exists. I didn't know that exists. I've been spending 50 minutes so far just doing it like this. Huh. Yeah, thank you once again for that. I'll keep that in mind if we continue doing this. I would like to. I mostly like the tabletop games with Dungeons and Dragons categories. I see. Yeah, unfortunately, I knew there was a Dungeons and Dragons category, but I didn't feel comfortable using it because this is definitely not D&D time. This is my own game time. Hopefully. Here's hoping. Right? So, and like I said, I would like to continue to develop this. I think my goal, right, is to develop this game and then to release said game and then either play test the game or after release run a game with this game that I made on stream with all of you, potentially with some of you on stream. I would love to do that. Right? That is a hope I'm releasing into the wind right now. As in, I'm not actually releasing it, but I'm casting out that hope. You use a D&D tag for any TRPG substance. D&D such blanket term for TRPGs. I guess that makes sense. I personally speaking, I do not feel comfortable using that tag. I would like to not use that tag. I feel like that is too much. It's better to use the D&D tag since people are more likely to click on it when knowing what a TRPG is. Maybe in the future. Right now, what is done is done. I don't feel super comfortable, but you know, right now we're focusing on this. For those who, since I did have a sudden, like slight increase in viewers, to everyone in my chat right now, we are making a mecha TTRPG with the main inspirations being Mobile Suit Gundam, Macross, and Mech Warrior / Battletech in that order. Although I did not list them in that order, like a charlatan. Yes, I'm gonna be basing this a lot on Pathfinder and like the Pathfinder's feats. At least like no D20 D20 with different dice being used for damages and stuff like that. Mainly because I know D20 way better than any other kind of system. That being said, there will be D6s used in like getting these stats, because these are actually, hang on, let me label those, right? Pilot stats. All right, pilot stats, then mecha stats. So I like to use D20 purely to my goal here is to make a slightly crunchier game. Not super crunchy, but slightly crunchier, because I enjoy myself a little bit of crunch in my D&D games. Even if it is like D&D 5e, I know it's not the crunchiest game in existence, but I think that is a good amount of narrative. Oh, thank you for the follow, Dink Donks. Welcome to the stream. I hope you've been having a good time. We're making a TTRPG, as I've been saying. But yeah, to get slightly back on tracks that I have been rambling on. I've been a rambler. These are the stats I've been thinking for our mechs, and these will be pilot stats will be rolled, mech stats will be baked in, right? So pilot stats, the pilots will be determining their stats through the usual and D methods, i.e. rolling 4d6 and dropping the lowest point by add standard array. Right, so that's how you'll be determining that, and then they will be assigning said rolls to the respective stats of their choice. Meanwhile, whoop! I did not mean to do that. Whoopsies. Mechs that will be hard built into the mech in question, but can be changed and modified, which which will result in the stats themselves changing. Does that make sense, everybody? So like having a thunk, you know, this like hexagon of number representation, like EV, IV in Pokemons. I don't. Would you like to explain it real quick? Because I don't actually know. I don't know. By the way, to those in chat, like Neko, Damien, Darcy, Dink Donk, if you're still here, I will be taking suggestions from you as we produce this. I do not want to drag you guys through the creation process, but I will actively be taking recommendations, suggestions, so on and so forth. I would like this to be a product of our community and Nakam Ascension. Not only Nakam Ascension, but also the bits out there, the bits and the bytes. So Yeah, don't be afraid to give me suggestions. I cannot mobile type D a bit. I cannot for mobile typing takes a bit. Okay. I'm gonna thunk, you know, this like hexagons of number representation, like popular TTRPG. Oh, I like Lancer. I like Lancer. I realize that Lancer exists. I realize that Beam Saber exists. I realize that other mech RPGs exist, right? Like BattleTech RPGs. I like them. I think they are nice. They are cool. I personally don't care that they exist. What do you think is its limits? A particular limit for me when looking at Lancer is that while mech customization is fruitful in Lancer, it seems to be very much limited to kit bashing, like kit bashing limbs and stuff with other mechs, which I think there's going to be some of that here. But my personal favorite form of modification when it comes to mechs is modifying stuff like its engines, armor layout, so on and so forth. But there is going to be some kit bashing, like you can probably take different parts and stuff like that from different mechs. I feel like that only makes sense. Another limit that I have, I think, of Lancer is that I feel like the pilots, I feel like people aren't really encouraged to play as the pilots. People play as the mechs in Lancer, which is fine, right? Fine, right? Lancer's mechs are cool as heck. But the pilots definitely, I think, take a back seat compared to the mechs. And I would like this to be a situation where mechs and pilots have equal sitting, right? Instead of sitting in the back seat, the mech and the pilot, they're sitting shotgun, right? Depending on what's happening that day. Or even like co-piloting each other, because I would like pilots and their abilities to synergize very well with the mechs, but I also would like the pilots themselves to be like, if you want to run a campaign with just your pilots, I think that would be really cool if that is a viable thing, right? Compared to Lancer, because Lancers, that's not a viable option, right? You can't run a game in Lancer as only the pilots. You'll be missing out on a huge chunk of the game, and while if you'll be missing out, like if you only play as the pilots in this game, yes, you'll be missing out on mech combat. I don't want the game to be lesser because you want to play it only as the pilot. Does that make sense? Like Neko, Darcy, so on and so forth. Like the limits are very small, but there are things that I notice, at least. Like I said, Lancer is a great game. Yeah, exactly. I want both the mech and the pilot to be viable play options. Because like I know for a fact that some people are gonna be playing just as the mech, and the pilot's gonna be taking a step back. Yeah, I mean that's totally fine, right? I don't want that to be a negative, right? But if you want to like whip out a Glock and just shoot somebody rather than having to get into a mech that whips out a giant mech-sized Glock and shoots somebody, I think that should be viable, right? Right? Or like if you want to take out a sword, because you know someone's definitely going to be carrying a sword. I just know for a fact at least one person wants a sword in the future. And just duel someone after your mechs got destroyed, right? That's an option, right? That's gonna be an option. Yeah. So while I won't be dissuading people from playing as the mechs, I don't think the mechs should be the only way to keep the action moving. I think you can also keep the action moving through pilot action, right? So yeah, let's continue on a little bit. Let me explain what each physicality. So like physicality. And please, if you have any further questions, don't be afraid to shoot them. I just want to continue rolling a little bit. Physicality is the ability of the. Oh, I wanted to play a game of Lancer that takes place in the 80s anime Ara Battle Dubine. All the mechs are actually palatable bugs in a medieval fantasy world that suddenly got some 80s tech. I want to reskin the hell out of Lancer. Heck yeah, that sounds cool. Is the ability of the pilot to move and control their body, as well as the ability, as well as the power within that body. Different bug puck. Different. So you told me that you can make like a Frankenstein monster of like a horn beetle and like a praying mantis and pilot that like a mech. The said body. This thing will include heavy weaponry, dueling out of mech, etc. Yo, Neko, on my Discord channel, can you send me a link to that anime? Because that sounds... Yeah, please, Neko, please send me a link to that or like just say the name in my Discord channel. I would like to watch that. That sounds really weird in like an awesome way. Oh shit. Ah! Keep hitting plus N by accident. Or control N. The ability to get hit and keep moving. Hit points. B. Intelligence. Right now I'm just describing what I think the different abilities should do and be. So like physicality is the combination of strength and dexterity for the pilot, right? Because I think in this sort of game, the difference between sheer power and the ability to control one's body is very minimal, right? It's a very minimal thing. So being able to control both of that through physicality, I think makes a lot more sense. As well as just to kind of reduce a little bit of the stats. Because personally speaking, I always felt strength and dexterity to be kind of redundant, which is like, you know, it makes sense, right? Like I said, strength is like, well, redundant is not the right word. I feel like it covers a lot of the same ground, but I understand why it exists. Like you know, I know that strength is like a boxer, right? A boxer will have high strength so they can punch the heck out of you. Meanwhile, dexterity is like an acrobat or like a fencer, right? Because they have to be much more worried about the control of their body rather than the sheer force behind their body. Physicality aims to kind of combine both of those, but you know what? If players or if chat in general is like, nah, that's not too much of a vibe, then you know what? I'm totally fine with just being like, you know what? That's okay. Let me get rid of that. Strength and dexterity back on the table. But for the time being, I think we should try out the whole combining strength and dexterity into physicality. Because it is now the ability to control the move as well as the power within said move when it comes to the pilot. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense, or am I just spinning nonsense? What? Why do you think we should give it? Sometimes it's just better to focus on other stats. Yeah, right. Like I always felt like if given the option, right, it's either strength and dexterity. One is always going to get dumped over the other when I don't think that makes sense personally. But it is what it is. Why is this 11? This is the ability for the ability for the pilot to think. Yeah. Hello, Orion. We're making a game. Is that the Orion Strider, my best road bro this side of the Mississippi? Such as the ability to act, modify, strategize, etc. Keep missing Orion's rogue streams. Well, I mean, VODs do exist for a reason. So, hello, Orion. As you can see, we have some progress already done on this mech game. This is the tentative name. This is the tentative name, mech game. Very cool, trust me. Wisdom. Okay, wisdom. The ability for the pilot. Ooh, what if you have like specialties since you can't like get uber strong with know how your body handles itself. You just know how to control what little power you have to do the good control, just a thunk. That is a good idea. Okay, let me finish writing out the stats real quick. So the stats, as stated, you know, is physicality, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. That is for pilots. I combine dexterity and strength. I'm not gonna go back over it again because we have spent like 10 minutes talking about why I combined it, and I don't want to do that again. Stickly. See, my mind, I always separate intelligence as in like numbers intelligence and wisdom as in like street smarts. Also like the ability to perceive and stuff like that. Of their surroundings. This includes perception, smarts, etc. That is totally fair. And then the last one is charisma. Charisma. This is the ability for the pilot to convince, deceive, threaten, etc. You know, hard shit. All right. Okay, that is a great separation. I worded it like intelligence is the ability to think statistically, and wisdom is the ability to think about their surroundings. So, charisma is who you know. Yeah, like, you know, I think that lines up with what I've been saying, right? It is the ability to think statistically versus the ability to think of their surroundings. You'll never be able to semicolon. Never. Okay, mech. Let's find out the mech stats now. Speed. How quickly a mech can move in a battlefield. This will be followed by a bonus or a... What's the opposite of a bonus? A detraction? Traction? Or the type of environment it is in. Examples include having a bonus towards water use or a detraction for on land. This would be potentially common for aquatic type suits. Mollusk? Is that a word? Mollusk? I haven't heard that word before. Malice? I feel like malice is not the right word to be used here. Malice is like a person. Handicap. That's a word. That's a good word. Okay. A bonus or a handicap. Will be. Alright, I'm going to redeem jumping jacks on your channel right now. So go do some jumping jacks to wake up, you sleepy tiger. Strength. Strength is the ability for the sheer power that a mech wields in a full way. This means will apply to melee combat or in gravity maneuvering. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna okay, yeah, let me just put the traction back until further notice. Traction. Five. Going, jumping, or gravity. So my idea, right, is that like strength is the sheer penalty. Thank you. God damn, I forgot the word for penalty. I forgot the word of penalty. Okay, so strength, right? Strength is the sheer physical power that a mech might have. So this is stuff like its ability to fight in melee combat, right? So if it's able to like break through guards or armor or other weapons, if it can chuck things really well, if it can jump really well, or when it is in an in-gravity situation, there will be bonuses or penalties depending on the amount of gravity, right? So like an aquatic type mobile suit will probably be operating fairly poorly in a gravitational setting. And while I'm aware that there is gravity in water, it's still the closest thing to a zero-G environment compared to, well, actual zero-G. An in-atmosphere zero-G environment. Yeah, the pure horsepower. That's a good way of putting it. Armor is self-explanatory. Armor, the ability to withstand hits. Smile. That one's easy, right? That one's easy. Heat, the ability to push the mech beyond its predetermined limits. Can be spent in order to achieve such as overclocking a system, overcharging a weapon if it is not physical, general increasing movement speed beyond safe limits, and general increase in all stats for a short time. Heat cannot be regained unless there is a system such as heat sinks, or a system is a way of expelling heat installed into the mech, such as heat sinks, or as a heat sink, or the ability to emergency vent heat. So yeah, basically to summarize what this is, heat is like a pool that you spend in a mech to push the mech beyond its limits, right? So that is including stuff like is overclocking the system, which will increase it by however many much, potentially by dice. I feel like the system would say if overclocked, this is what it will do. Overcharging a weapon, which is just adding more damage, obviously. Of course, if it can be overcharged. So like a physical gun, right? Like a machine gun that does physical bullets cannot be overcharged. But a beam weapon or an energy weapon can. An energy machine gun can be overcharged. Increasing movement speed, so like basically, you know, the meme in Star Trek, like divert all power to thrusters, basically that, right? Or general increase in all stats for short times. Heat in combat cannot be released, thus regaining heat, unless there is systems or objects put in place such as heat sinking or emergency vents, stuff like that, right? You can't expel the heat unless you have that stuff. That being said, I would like to add a system where you can basically push heat to its very limit with like, here, let me get you a picture of something that I would like an example. Let me get you an example. This is what I'm thinking when it comes to what a suit might look like if you design it specifically to push the boundaries of, like, if you push it, right? If you push the boundaries of heat and heat management. Let me just quickly go back. This. Image 11, browse. This right here, right? This, see the amount of vents on this gun, like this mobile suit? That is what something, this would be like what you would have to do in order to like, yeah, this is what you would have to do in order to like really toy with heat, right? You need to have vents literally on the cockpit. There are vents right below the cockpit, or like vents on the shoulders, vents on the forearms, vents on the side skirts. Doesn't make sense that they're there, but they're there. Vents on the head. Vents all over the body, right? Because this would be the ability to like expel high amounts of heat, while still being able to like really push your suit. So like I think it would be really cool if that was a completely viable build, right? Is to be able to like push your suit in such a way that you can do some of these really powerful deeds and such, while also like not exploding. Right, so this suit is, yeah, basically, yeah, you know what I mean. I don't need to explain myself any further. It'd be cool if you can do that, and of course it'll be really expensive too, because that'll be like a ton of heat sinks, and like coolant vents, stuff like that. A lot of stuff just so you can be stronger for that much longer. Yeah, anyways, let's move on to an engine and what engines mean. Engines is what drives a mech. What allows a mech to function, there we go, is measured in wattage, and unless the mech's engine is full or exceeding the wattage needed for a weapon or system, the mech will not be able to use said system due to too much energy, due to exceeding energy. So yeah, engines, right? Also, beep boop. What? How's that for a beep boop, Orion? Beep boop. What's kind of beep boop that's gonna like make Maple explode? Oh god, the plosives. But yeah, so as I was saying, right, engines, right, like to summarize. Beep boof, beep boop, boop. Good. Beep boop. Engines, as I was saying, that is what measures the ability for the mobile suit to function, or the mech to function. It needs like basically to equip like a system or weapons. A mech can only have has to be equal or exceeding the wattage needed for that weapon or system to be used. I'm thinking there might be a system. I might do something where you have to like measure the amount of wattage being used. But that sounds like a lot of work and a lot of calculations just to shoot a gun, right? So I might not go with that, mainly because I feel like that's just a lot of work. And while this is obviously going to be a system that is going to be a bit more heavy on the work side for both DM and GM alike, considering the fact that you are using 2 character sheets, you're using a pilot sheet and then a mech sheet. I feel like over management is just as bad as no structure, right? Too much crunch and you're eating a rock. Too little crunch and you're drinking water. But yeah, this makes sense, right? As I was saying earlier, mechs, all of this stuff is going to be hard baked into the mechs, but can be adjusted using systems and equipment. Meanwhile, like I said, with the pilots will be able to change their stuff through leveling up and potentially doing some modifications, like cybernetics, stuff like that. I'm not sure how much I want to tread in that water. Yeah, most people like a nice taco. But yeah, we got 2 pages already. How many words? I'm curious. Little word count. We got 450 words. Nice. What should we move on to now, y'all? Because we laid out the pilots and what their ability scores are, and the mechs and what their abilities scores are. Should we move on to stuff like skills, pilot skills, right? Like a list of pilot skills, like, you know, deception, history, arcana. Just using D&D terms here, I know for a fact that arcana is not going to be in this game. I don't want it to be magic. But what do y'all think we should move on to? You're my audience here. You get to decide. You're sleepy? That's not something to move on to. It's not always about the magic basket. Sometimes it's about the mechs love mechs. Come on, mechs hit the D20 good. Can come back and we change things later. Yeah, of course. Yeah, like for instance, like I said, physicality. I made physicality to combine dexterity and strength, but if people don't like that, I'll just separate them back out to strength and dexterity. But I was looking to see what y'all want to see work on next, right? We have a lot of stuff to work on, so like abilities, right? Not abilities, skills and be closer to the live. Heck yeah. So yeah, we can work on abilities. We can try to work on. I don't think mechs will really have abilities. Well, not abilities, skills. I feel like a lot of that's going to be within the systems. We could try to make some mechs, maybe. We could try to figure out classes. If there is going to be any classes. Like, do you all think there should be some classes in this? Or like backgrounds? Classes and backgrounds? If so, what are they going to be, right? Like, I can see one class being mechanic, but that could also easily be a background, right? Like, what do y'all think? What's y'all thoughts? What's y'all brain juices telling ya? Got a lot of stuff to work on. I mean, that is okay. Hang on. I don't know, honestly. I'm not used to two-person design. That is having both the pilot and the mech. Yeah, that makes sense. The pilot, I think, no matter what, is going to be kind of like the heart of the mech, right? Maybe having them be like roles instead, or have a interchangeable system where if a campaign is squad based, you have assigned roles. It is based on something else, you have another thing. Or role player based archetypes. I feel like shit. Hey, Orion, go drink some water, you sleepy baby. Roles might not be that bad of an idea. Mech rolls. Well, not mech rolls. Rolls for like whom you are, I guess. Right? So like you can be like a technician, a soldier, a spy. Thank you for the redeem. Right? Stuff like that. So like instead of like, kind of combining classes, not combining classes, just kind of different classes. Backgrounds might be interesting just for flavor purposes. Like noble. Who knows? There might be nobles in the future. Hopefully there's not. Or like street VTuber, a VTuber mech pilot. Streaming mech battles, streaming war atrocities. You know how it is. What the people want to see. What if instead of classes you just went with background and then people got bonus points to build their own build? Like, that's a good idea. That is a great idea. So instead, right? Yeah, I'm gonna keep the mech stuff and the pilot stuff separate. Pilots. Will be pilot background. The background of the pilot determines where they came from. While the past isn't necessary for the present, skills obtained there will remain and will change how you operate in the now. Looks kind of like be like classes with their feats and equipment largely based focused on their growth. Yeah, that makes sense. I can gleam a class system from a game I used to like to play back when I had a PS4 installed in my body, called Gundam Battle Operation 2. Mechs, the mobile suits in that, they were divided into 3 types, I believe. There was, I think, the the brawler, I think, the support, and I'm gonna look it up. It's gonna drive me insane if I don't. Gundam Battle Proper. There we go. Let's look this up. I'm looking this up. Gots to know. Aid. Let's raid, support, and let's see, raid, support. Bro, just tell me, please. Whatever. You know what I mean. There's 3 types. There's a raid, there's like fighting up close. Support, which is self-explanatory. Whatever, you know, it is what it is. I don't care. That's gonna be, I think that might be a good idea to have types for the mechs in this. Right? That's a good idea, I think, to have for the different types of mech. Because that way we can keep it broad while also still classifying different mechs into different roles, like classes do. By the way, this is what changed. We have 3 pages now, baby. Operated now. Yeah, of course we can add more later. I think just thinking in the now, those 3 types is gonna be good. Oh, I think the 3rd was just general. I think the 3rd was just both, like, not necessarily a support type, but not necessarily a raid. It's like in the center. Yeah. Basically, it should be a I don't want to say tic-tac-toe, but I think tic-tac-toe might be the best option. Well, not tic-tac-toe. Rock, paper, scissors, right? Hang on. Did I just fucking find it? Work. It is literally just general. God damn it. I'm struggling so much just remember the word general in the game. I'm gonna scream. But yeah, background, that's kind of, it helps you point your build in a direction. So like your background could be like soldier, streamer, mechanic, or technician, or hacker, or war refugee, I don't know. Stuff like that. Basically, as we said, a pilot is going to be a bag of skills. A mech is going to be not a bag of skills. Um, I'm gonna put this in no matter what you are. You should at least able to pilot a mech or a vehicle. Heck yeah, you're a PC, baby. Hey, what do you mean by archetype per core stats? Orion Strider, if that is your real name. Also, hang on 1 second. While you answer that, I'm actually going to be going for just a second. I need to do some emergency maintenance again. Give me suggestions. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm back. Hello. Get right into that stuff. Go and let's go back. Pilot background. Do you think we should make a list of pilot backgrounds? Like, the pilot background list. Soldier. Hacker. Mechanic. technician. Weaponsmith. That might be an interesting one. Weaponsmith. The difference between a mechanic and a weaponsmith, I think, would be, I think a weaponsmith would be much more focused into creation and fabrication of weapons for both pilot and mech, while mechanic and technician can sometimes do that. They are much more about adding in the feats and stuff like that, or probably more applicable to gameplay terms. Actually, no, that could be applicable in downtime, just adding in stuff, but harvesting components from other mechs, like systems, so on and so forth. Weaponsmith. Streamer. Scavenging, baby. Yeah, you know it. You know we're gonna be scavenging up in this game. Scavenging, baby. Hang on, I'm checking something real quick. Hang on. I'm starting to feel ill, so I'm gonna get going. Good luck with the core design, dude. Yeah, thanks for coming. Hang on, I'm gonna check something real quick. Is anyone streaming today? Maple is gonna be streaming in what appears to be 5 minutes, or more is gonna be streaming in 5 minutes. So I think we might be wrapping up stuff soon anyways. So you have a good day. Start feeling better, hopefully. And yeah, we might wrap up and raid into someone. Just wanted to check that real quick. I like this. How are y'all feeling about this, by the way? Y'all enjoying this at all? Streamer. What other? Yeah, sorry I had to dip for a while there, but the short bit I got, see what was cool. Yeah, you know, I would like to do this more. How to translate a phone call. No issue at all. Streamer. Politician. You know, the politician is no longer using words. They roll up the sleeves, break out the Glock. I'm using a Glock as an example this stream. Bring out the Deagle. Politician. What other backgrounds would make sense? What y'all thinking? What backgrounds might make sense here? We got a streamer. A Sekai? No, we're not doing a Sekai. No, we're not doing a... I don't like to do hard nose, especially when I'm asking for suggestions, but no, that's gonna be a hard no, Neko. Sorry, Neko. I'm not doing that. Not about that life. So we got soldier, hacker, mechanic / technician, drafty. New. Okay, I'm just gonna say new type. Actually, no. I think that is going to be a feat. That's going to be a feat you get that basically adds on to your background. That is not going to be a background itself. This is one though, drafty. Right, you're a normal citizen. Well, no. Not all your suggestions. As I said, I think child with telepathy, right? Child with telepathy, that is going to be a feat. That's going to be a feat you acquire rather than a full background. Mainly because I think that child with telepathy, there are no other feats currently, but the feat, if we saw here, let's do a feat list right now. Let's start a feat list. Feats. New type. For a lack of a better word, currently. Which is basically child with telepathy. That's what a new type is. Here, let's take a moment just to explain this. So, soldier, you are a soldier for the government that you live under. You were trained in the traditional sense and you are a computer whiz, able to crack into most systems and pull them. Got dragged away, but Academy? Maybe Academy. You know machinery like the back of your hand, are able to modify change it accordingly. Specific. I feel like specific like Mech Academy might lead into soldier. Problem with making telepathy a feat is that other feats has to be cool as telepathy, which I don't think is possible without making them superheroes. Well, no. I feel like with the new type, there might be the downside of the fact that, so new types in Gundam, for those who aren't aware, have a tendency to go insane or have massive depressive episodes because they physically feel when other new types die. They feel it within their body when they die. Yes, that is part of the empathy of the new types. They, like, for instance, in Gundam Unicorn, a great example of this is that in Gundam Unicorn, the pilot of the Gundam Norn, or Banshee Norn, my apologies, he basically awoken his new type abilities, and when another new type that he was very close with died, he was in so much pain that he barfed inside his helmet. So, while yes, being a new type is cool, this might be one of the feats that actually end up harming you in the long run. Because I feel like I might actually incorporate a mechanic that if there's another new type that dies nearby, you might get the feedback. You know how to create and change weapons. Humor. The world is your stage. You intend to hit. Able to convince much easier. The time for words is over. Time to roll up your sleeves. Gundam is very Gundam is just weird. Imagine just walking your co-pilot or a squad mate and then just, oh fuck, there goes Greg. Shame, I liked him. Gundam's just weird. I have no explanation for why Gundam exists the way it does. It just exists. It exists the way it does, and we have to live with the fact that it lives. It's weird. I keep pressing the wrong one. That's like the third time today. You were an ordinary citizen, more or less, and were forced into service recently. You lack the training of most other pilots. This results in being unpredictable. Here we go. Gundam was originally not supposed to sell toys, but it ended up selling toys. And you know what? I'm not here to judge people making money, but why are mechs closer to Zaku's or GMs in this TTRPG? In this TTRPG, the mechs would be, I think, base would be closer to a Zaku or a GM. Power level wise, Zaku's and GMs are actually pretty comparable in power level. The main reason why Zeon lost the One New War is because the politicians kept killing each other. The funding kept going towards weird one-off mobile armors, and they flooded their pilots with weird variations of mobile suits, so it became really hard for people to just know how to control mechs. The GM, on the other hand, the GM and the Zaku are very comparable in power level. Of course, the GM does have a beam guns compared to a physical gun, but it can only use that beam gun or the beam saber, cannot use both at the same time due to the engine's limits. Yeah, so the mechs are going to be closer to the grunt suits. Yeah, that's just how it is. With enough modification as well as effort and money, you can probably make a Gundam level mobile suit. So like, you can probably make something that's like a Zeta Gundam or a double Zeta Gundam or a Unicorn or a Sazabi or a Sinanju or the O Gundam. Stuff like that. So you can get to the level of a anime mecha protagonist suit, but otherwise you are going to be starting off with some more basic mechs. Because personally speaking, I think a lot of people look over the basic mechs. Basic mechs, pretty cool. I like myself a basic mech or two. Let me see if they're live yet. I have a lot of people I'm following on Twitch now from just raiding so much. Okay. Both Timora and Maple are online, so we're gonna be raiding Maple. Thank you all so much for coming. We're gonna wrap this up. I feel like this is a good place to wrap up anyways. I would like to do this again. I thought this was very fun. So let's raid Maple Magic. Raid Maple Magic. And raid message is gonna be Robo Raid as per usual. And thank you for posting that opening. I will look into it. I'm very much interested in this in the anime. But yeah, make sure you get yourself some water, some food, rest, all that good stuff. And I will talk to y'all next time. It'd be kind of cool if we do this once a week. Not sure. Might make it a thing. I don't know. I will look into it later. Don't be afraid to send me some more suggestions on Discord. And I'll talk to you all next time. I'm just going to wait a moment to let the stream catch up.